Yes, good morning, my dear second year PUC students. I welcome you for today's second session English Grammar Prepositions. Yesterday we were discussing in detail about the meanings, the definitions, and the relative terms under prepositions. I told you prepositions play a vital role, a substantial role, a vast area the prepositions cover. So it needs thorough preparation, thorough identification, so deep recognition while reading, while making references. So whether you read textbooks, whether you read lessons, whether you read articles, whether you refer letters written, so the prepositions play a very important role. So when you go through the newspapers, when you browse through the newspapers, you come across hundreds of prepositions used, employed, and placed appropriately. So yesterday I was telling you so many things. I told you a preposition is a word placed before a noun or a pronoun in relation to some other word in a sentence. So although a preposition is placed before a noun or pronoun, sometimes what happens, so they are used after the given word or after the word which it governs. So I also told you the preposition helps us connect. A preposition helps us connect. So what do we connect? We connect nouns and pronouns with verbs and adjectives in a sentence. So a preposition therefore connects, so therefore indicates the relationship of a noun with other words of a sentence. So there we understand prepositions explain. So what do they explain? They explain relationships between the sequence. So when we are using sentences, when we are formulating sentences, so we have to maintain some sequence. It is called sequential. Okay, sequence, space. Okay, the space. What does that space refer to? The area or the place or the spot. So appropriately the prepositions occupy. So relationships between the sequence, space, and logic between the object of the sentence and the rest of the sentence. So there I told you a sentence can be divided into three parts: subject, verb, and object. So subject is the doer of action. So what type of action does he do? So what action he has done? Okay. So there we come across the parts of speech employed, so which are interconnected, interrelated. Okay. So that becomes a meaningful sentence. So the objects, so which are acted upon. So when we say the objects which are acted upon, so the prepositions are placed either before them or after them. So a preposition, okay, helps us understand. They helps us understand order. So maintaining orderliness, showing the order of words used in a meaningful sentence. So they help us understand order, time. So the time, the place, the manner, the method, the direction, all these things are to be well acquainted with. So the prepositions help us to understand order, time, connections. See that connectivity, connections given, connections shown. So interconnectivity shown between the subject and object, between the preposition and the noun, between the preposition and the pronoun. So that is the very important aspect that has to be well understood, that has to be well comprehended. So I suggest and advise you make lot of references. So it is the time and tide, it is the stage and level. So after completing 10 years of education, now we should go deep into, okay, the formal grammar, not informal grammar. So the inductive grammar, not deductive grammar. So you should keep engaged. So in learning grammar thoroughly, consistently, continuously, constantly. So it is required, very much required. So in our spoken, okay, languages, whether it is English spoken language or Kannada spoken language or Hindi spoken language. So in this digitalized world, spoken English plays a very important role, either at the national level or at the regional level or at the international level. So keeping all these meanings in mind, having studied all these meanings in detail, so now at last we have seen the different types of prepositions. So which are those different types of prepositions? So it can be clearly understood. I told you whether knowingly or unknowingly, whether seen or unseen, whether understood or ununderstood. Sometimes we are able to use these structures in a meaningful way, in a meaningful manner. But somehow it is better we should get acquainted, okay, regarding the importance of prepositions, regarding the usage of prepositions. So that's why we have been undertaking the detailed discussion on this topic, prepositions. So that is session 2 for today. So again coming back to this point, I told you a preposition is a word. Look at this meaning written once again. A preposition is a word. A preposition is a word that is placed before. A preposition is a word that is placed before a noun. You know, a noun is the name of a person, place, or thing. Pronoun. So how do you use pronouns? Use pronouns instead of nouns. So we have hundreds of pronouns. Okay, and you know nouns are divided into many types, and pronouns are divided into many types. So a preposition is a word that is placed before a noun or pronoun to show its relation. So that definitely shows the relation. There we indicate the relationship. That relationship should be understood. That placement should be understood. So that placement should be traced. It should be traceable. It should be pointed out. Okay. So relation with something else, whatever it is, whether it is object or it is subject, whether it is a noun or a pronoun. Okay. So keeping in mind the sequence, keeping in mind the space, keeping in mind the logical factor, keeping in mind the orderliness, keeping in mind the connections, keeping in mind the positions. All these factors have to be considered, otherwise it cannot be understood. Okay. So thereby, I have told you. So a preposition is divided into 5 types. So, the 5 types, the main 5 types are simple prepositions, compound prepositions, double prepositions, participle prepositions, and phrase prepositions. So look at the examples given. So by looking at these examples, you can easily understand how to make use of these prepositions. So invariably, okay, in various timings, in various placements, in various directions, in various dimensions. Okay, so either to maintain orderliness, and you can easily trace the disorderliness. So when we keep practicing, we can easily understood how to place, how to replace, how to remove errors, how to identify mistakes. So that requires consistent, constant, continuous practice. So this is the time, this is the level in your lives. So you have to come forward. You get yourself exposed to these linguistic skills. You should take deep interest in these skills. After all, what do we call this one? Parts of speech. What do we mean parts of speech? Parts of what we speak. What plays a vital, substantial role in the parts of speech? The prepositions. Okay, so look into this first thing. Okay, the book is on the bench. The book is on the bench. So the book is on the bench. So we are not using book is upon the bench. So on the bench shows, okay, immobility. Upon the bench shows mobility. So we should be very careful here. Mobility, immobility. Moving, okay, not moving. So that is called stationary. Okay. So the book is on the table, not upon the table. So we cannot say the book is over the table. The book is above the bench. We cannot use. Okay. So that becomes erotic. I stand amongst other people, amongst other people. So it is a group of people. So it is the mass. It is a mob. It is a crowd. So we call it as amongst other people. Okay, we cannot say I stand between other people. When you want to say I stand between, you should indicate, okay, two objects. I stand between two pillars. Okay, I stand between two pillars. But here the point is, I stand amongst other people. Now let us look into simple preposition. So simple preposition. Look at these simple prepositions. Look at the examples given. Simple prepositions. Round. Okay. What do? We go round. Okay, we go round. Understood? We go round a temple. Understood? Go round. Since it is the beginning of time. It is very erotic term here. Beginning of time. What is it? Since beginning of time. So you have been attending classes since 8:30 a.m. So that is the beginning of time. Since yesterday. Since, okay, previous day. Since last week. Since last month. Since last year. Since 1947. Since 1947. So we have been enjoying freedom since 1947. We have been enjoying freedom for 75 years. For 75 years since 1975. That should be understood. So that is the importance of using since. So there are very sensitive terms. So which are either well known or not known at all. So if it is not known, so it should be learnt. It should be practiced. So simple prepositions, round, since, though. So though is studied thoroughly. Okay, what happened? We failed to get a distinction. Though he, okay, prepared thoroughly for the annual examination, though he prepared thoroughly for the annual examination, we failed to get a distinction. See how many prepositions have been employed here. Though, a simple preposition. Though he prepared thoroughly for a simple preposition, failed to get a simple preposition. So simple prepositions, round, since, though, till tomorrow, till next week, till next year. Okay, it is a time that is an indicator. Time, till, not still, it is still. Okay, so that should be understood. Till, under. Where did he sleep? He slept under a tree. Okay, understood. For, by, on, in, at, to, up, with, etc. So these are some of the important examples of simple prepositions. So when you read lessons, you come across all these words. Okay, in the given sentences, in the outline sentences, in the earmarked sentences, you come across these prepositions. So wherever you see these prepositions, however you see these prepositions, see that you keep underlining them. See that you keep highlighting their position. See that you keep highlighting their connectivity. See that you keep highlighting their sequence. See that you keep highlighting their space occupied. Okay, so that is the main concern here. So let's come to compound prepositions. Look at the compound. What is called compound preposition. So in sentences we come across simple sentences, compound sentences, correct? So compound sentences, how do you build? You build using conjunctions. What are conjunctions called? Okay, the linkers. We call them as linkers. So compound prepositions. So compound prepositions throughout. So throughout his life. What did he do throughout his life? He did nothing. achieved nothing. But throughout his life, what did he do? He had written many books. He had authored many books. Understood? So that is the productivity throughout his life. Understood? Throughout, beyond limit. So we use beyond limit. So beyond limit. Limit is what? Noun. So beyond is what? Compound sentence. Throughout his life. His life. Is what? Pronoun. Life is what? Noun. So we are using throughout. Okay. Before is pronoun. Life is noun. Beyond limit. Beyond limit. So you worked beyond limit. What is that beyond limit? Infinity. Infinity. That is beyond limit means infinity. Unlimited area covered. Beyond limit. Between. In between. I said he stood between two pillars. He stood between two pillars. That should be specifically shown. He stood between two pillars. That should be specifically shown. If it is shown well, it is understood. Okay. So we cannot use there amongst. Okay. Amongst cannot be employed. That is between. Next comes beneath. What does the word beneath indicate? That indicates what the meaning similar to below. Beneath. Beneath. Okay. The ground. Below the level. Okay. Beneath the ground. Correct. Beneath. Next, behind. At the back of. That is place. Behind the wall. Behind the door. Behind the door. Understood? Next, into the playground, into the stadium, into the playground, into the stadium. So into the water, into the well. So that shows motion. That shows motion. Okay. So the mobility, either upwards or downwards or sidewards. That is into, inside, outside, inside the room, outside the room. Inside the room, room is noun. We have used the compound preposition. Outside the room. Okay. So that is very clear. Around the compound, around the temple. Okay. That shows the entire vicinity, the entire proximity. Okay. That is around. Next comes toward the target. He ran toward the target. He ran toward the target. Understood? That is below the average. So below average marks. Okay. So he secured below average marks. Below poverty line. That is BPL code. Below poverty line. Above poverty line. So we see how we are employing these prepositions practically, knowingly. Okay. So in order to know them in detail, so know them understandably, know them comprehensively. So it is must and should that we should learn prepositions in detail. That's why I said it is a vast topic. Okay, that is below. Next, double prepositions. Look at the double prepositions. So out of, double, out plus of, double preposition. Okay, out of order. So his condition is out of order. So what did he do? Out of anger. He fought with his enemy. Okay, out of order, out of anger. Okay, out of control. So this double prepositions can be meaningfully used. Next, from amongst. Okay, from amongst the winners. So the selection is made, the final selection is made from amongst the winners. Okay, from amongst the winners. From amongst the participants. From amongst the dignitaries. From amongst the students. Okay, so that can be said. Next, from above, from beneath, from above. Okay, ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಮೇಲೆ, from beneath. Okay, ಕೆಳಗಿಂದ ಮೇಲೆ, from beneath. From above, from beneath. From behind. Okay, from behind. What is? So the March 1st has been made from behind. Correct. Next, outside of. Okay, outside of the city limits. Outside of the city limits. Next, participle prepositions. Look at the participle prepositions. So participle prepositions, I told you present participle, past participle, present participle, past participle. Usually present participles and past participles end with ing. Sometimes we call them as ing form verbs. So ing form verbs, accepting. So many a times we use words like this. So there these words are used as participle prepositions, not as verbs. Okay, accepting him. Look at that. Considering his case. Okay, respecting his appeal. Withstanding his okay assault. Excluding their request, including their suggestions. So finally, phrasal prepositions. Look at this one: with regard to, in accordance with, on behalf of, with a view to, in the event of, in connection with, in accordance with. So these are some of the important prepositions classified under 5 heads, namely simple prepositions, compound prepositions, double prepositions, participle prepositions, and phrase prepositions. So with this explanation and illustration, I end today's session. Wishing you all the best. God bless you. Thank you.